Good morning and welcome to the Daily High on this glorious Monday morning. Wow, what a weekend. Good morning, Tone.
Morning was a very good weekend. I'm still here in Panama. Man, I really thought we would consolidate this weekend, but if we were going to go in one direction or another, I was certainly bullish. You were certainly bullish. And here we are waiting for market open at a pretty nice range.
Yeah, it's been terrific. You don't normally get a great Sunday like that. But this is the same situation we were in last week where we had a fantastic Monday day Australia and a Sunday night in America leading into market open. It's just 2 weeks in a row we've had fantastic weeks. And I made the comment last week, I would love somebody to go back and research that's Monday morning Australia time, Sunday night America time pumps so you have the highest closing point that you can have throughout the whole week. That seems to trigger great responses for the rest of the week. So we'll see what happens. The fact that we're tearing up to 72 and all-time highs, all-time highs, all-time highs, all-time highs. There's got to be a pullback at some point, but this is going parabolic and I can't wait to see it. Do you want to jump into the charts or do you want me to go first?
Yeah. Oh, one more heads up for those of you viewing and wondering why the show is coming an hour later. That's because the United States stupidly changed their clocks, a law that they still have not removed. And I am here in Panama, which is somewhat normal and does not change their clocks. And I didn't want to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. However, next week, when I'm back in the US, the show will probably come back to 7:30 US time, which would be 6:30 in the morning Panama time. But right now, we're still on Panama time. And Australia is going to move their clock soon also. So it's going to be a switch from that as well.
Stay tuned because I don't understand any of that. So we'll have to go as we go. So it'll be great. You want to go first with the charts or do you want me to go first? Can't wait to see
Sure,
it.
I'll go first this time.
Terrific. Let's do
Let
it.
me open this up. All right. Let me. Oh, I gotta do one thing first. I gotta go to YouTube here. Not sure why it's trying to verify me. YouTube. 1 second. Trying to make sure that we're live streaming through the YouTube channel.
Back
Let me
above
go
72.
to.
It's good.
Yeah, let's start with the higher level time frames. That seems to be the best way to go here. This may be a short show. The weekly chart continues to be bullish. I have drawn this arrow several weeks ago. I have a new box that is drawn in. I'm anticipating an MRI top, which is 3 more weeks away. This is week number 6, and we have up to 3 more weeks to go to reach an MRI top. Because I was bullish, I drew that MRI top box in the highs. I believe that we will be in the mid $80,000 price range. My low end for this rally is the inflation adjusted all-time high of 78,500. That is my low end target. My high end target for the rally is in the $92,000, $93,000 price range. I would be surprised if we fly higher before the halving. Like if we are approaching 100K or breaking 100K before the halving, I would be surprised. And now we got to talk about the scenario if I'm right. And if I'm right, and that is the scenario, I would certainly be expecting a 20 to 25% pullback from the mid to high $80,000 range around the halving. So that's basically my projection into the future. The allocation chart is 100% bullish. I personally have taken profit twice. Both of them did lead to some short-term pullbacks. I was able to get back into my 100% position, either at the same price or at a lower price. And I slept better at night. But according to Consensio and the 4-day allocation chart, I should have not been concerned. I should have stayed 100% bullish. And I do want to comment on this chart because, I don't know, about a year ago or so now, wherever it was, can't believe it's been almost a year, but 6 months ago, I was kind of late in getting to the party of 100% bullish, and a lot of people were making fun of me for that. I didn't care that I was late because the move that I was looking for was this move. And even though I came into the trade a little bit late, according to Consensio, I should have been 100% long as of 30,000 or even 28,000. But instead, I was only 50% long at 34 instead of 28. And I was 100% long. Sorry, I was 50% long at 34, and I was 100% long by the time we were at 38. So yeah, I might have been about $10,000 shy on going 100% long between 28 and 38. But the move I was looking for was this $40,000 move. And in hindsight, that will not matter. What matters is you weren't, a fool. Like some people constantly commenting on the YouTube channel that we're going to crash, we're going to crash, we're going to crash. And I'm not sure why they keep watching my channel. But this was the move that needed to be in 100% the entire time. Now, I, of course, lowered my position to 70 and 50% when we were dropping back in January, but I was able to get back into 100% position at a better price than exiting at right before the ETFs came. So this is the main move that people need to care about, not whether you got in on the perfect second of the low or a day later or a week after that. Okay, so people tend to overestimate the small things and completely miss out on the major moves. This is the one-day chart. The one-day chart did exactly as we expected, or I expected. I really wanted us to reset the MRI count. This would give us 3 extra days in a bullish run-up to the next MRI top. That's what I wanted to see. That's exactly what we got. We got the green star candle still in a consolidation phase on Sunday, and today we are breaking out. This is as perfect of an MRI sequence as you can find. I absolutely love it, and I think we have significantly more upside during the week, as crazy as it sounds with how much we already went up. But if we are hitting that $78,500 price at the end of this week, I might have to take some profit. Like there is a limit to how bullish I am in exponential / parabolic rises. On a short-term chart, we are on a 1-hour MRI top. I wouldn't fault anyone for looking to take some profit here. It is 8:30 in the morning New York time. Markets tend to reverse at 10 a.m. If I saw any kind of weakness at 10 a.m., I would consider taking some profit. Let's see. Gold is at an all-time high as well. Very, very nice. The S&P is down in the pre-market, which is somewhat surprising considering how much Bitcoin is up in the pre-market. Now, that's the good news. The good news is I wouldn't worry too much about the 10 a.m. reversal in Bitcoin because the S&P might reverse at 10 a.m. to the upside. And if the S&P reverses at 10 a.m. to the upside, I would not be expecting the opposite from Bitcoin. If the S&P is reversing at 10 a.m., I would expect Bitcoin to go even higher at 10 a.m. So I still believe that Bitcoin and stocks are correlated. And you can see in this chart right here, they're correlated. They're both rising, like a bat out of hell. And therefore, if the S&P starts to reverse at 10 a.m., I'm going to be even more bullish on Bitcoin. And that's about it. No reason to look at stocks on a Monday pre-market. It won't be productive at all. Matt, off to you, unless you have questions.
Yeah, no, that's great, Tone. That's great. I don't have any questions. I'm good.
And the 4-hour chart is just getting started. While the 1-hour chart is on an MRI top, the 4-hour chart just got a green star candle. So they are certainly not in line. You would need, not even the second consecutive hourly. You might need the third consecutive hourly MRI top to be in line with the bullishness on the 4-hour.
No, that's great, mate. That's fantastic. It's just funny when you're mentioning that story that people were ragging on you for getting in too late or something. I'm so sick of seeing people trading and like thinking it's a competition, like they're in competition with us or with other people. Like we're not in competition, guys. Like I'm not interested in the 200% you made on your $1,000 position. I'm trading with my life here. It's my family's life. It's their children's life. I'm not don't care if you beat me. Good on you, you know. Like so, let's get into the charts here. Well, I'll do the same thing that you did, starting on the weekly time frame. This pink line right here was our weekly close this morning in Australia, 12 hours ago, which is really funny because if you look closely, not only is it an all-time high, but it was exactly on, almost exactly on the highest swing high we ever had as well. I just thought that was noteworthy that not only was it a all-time high candle close, it was exactly at the same point. I'm going to get rid of this right now because it's cluttered up the charts. I'll talk about this purple line in a minute. I love the weekly right now. We're only on a 6. I'm really excited to see if we can get into that box on the weekly time frame, Tone's weekly time frame. I don't know what I'll do in that situation. I'll have to pull at least the current trade I'm in right now, but hell, what I don't even know what a 25% when you brought up the weekly before and we got into that box. What is a 25-30% crash from that point? What do you remember what it was? It was 80 and a half zone. We'll just call it what,
Yeah, just go
85.
from 85. Let's split the middle. Go 85. It's gonna take you down to 60.
Yeah, I mean 25. Okay, we'll just call it here is still 63 and 30%. I mean, that's
60.
60, right? So you're anticipating it's a possibility. We'll talk about it a lot as it comes up nearer. But yeah, I mean, why not? How can this just go parabolic? I don't know. It's been pretty bloody good.
Yeah,
Daily
my
time.
biggest decisions will be made. What if
Yeah.
we're 88,000 next Monday? What do you do? You still have like 2-3 weeks to go on the MRI weekly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Well,
going to be the tough decisions.
this is why, please, I urge you to watch the video I made on the Financial Summit, Diversified Trading Within a Single Asset, because I don't have to do shit, sorry for swearing, in the positions that I'm in from 17,200 or 27,200 in my spot positions. I don't have to do anything. But in my leverage trades that I'm in from 64,996, then yeah, I'm taking profit. I'm taking them and adding it to the pile, adding it to the stack. So let's go into this today. Any astute viewers right now might notice that this was the 64,996 position that I'm in, that I've been in since last week. The position is higher. The average entry is higher when it was down at, what, 62 or something like that previously. Because today, this morning, when we opened the weekly candle and we started to come down a bit, exactly at this purple line here at 67,794, and I was talking to Tone when I did it, I added leverage to the position. I went from 3x to 4x and I added an additional $50,000 contract in. So now I'm in a, what is it, $260,000 trade from 64966, whatever, like that, from here, from this price right here. So I'm sitting really pretty. I'm really glad I did that. And the reason I bought at this price here, when we came back down lower and we started to come up, I thought this candle was going to close about at the 7 simple moving average. So I added it on the way up, not on the way down. And I wanted to get in, well, right there. I'm happy with that. And for a moment, it was uncomfortable. I've got to be honest with you, especially when we were coming down. But I was very happy that I loaded up. I'll go to the 4-hour time frames. It's a bit clearer. You can see the candle
I got a little story about uncomfortable as it's going down, because right there, if you put your cursor right at the near the top, few candles earlier, right, like 3 or 4 candles
maybe?
earlier. Like a few candles earlier.
Yeah,
like around there, like around 90 or like at 69 and like 300 in that area. Like yesterday, like late afternoon, chatting with a good friend of mine who's probably watching the show, and he's like, yeah, I think he was in leverage trades, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna pull some profit at 69 and a half, because he's been leveraged from lower. And I'm like, dude, no, don't pull profit at 69 and a half, man. I think it's gonna just bust out to 72, 73 tomorrow. And then I get a message from him as it's dropping, right? He's like, all right, Tone, screw it. I added more. And then it keeps dropping to 67. I'm like, oh man, what do I do? How bad is that advice? And then boom, I wake up this morning and I'm like, okay, good.
Great advice, Tone. Fantastic. You knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to happen. Well, this moving average has moved up now. This is the 30 exponential, 30 simple moving average on the 4 hour time frame. But this line where I entered, it was actually at that point was right on the 30 as well. So I had the daily time frame with the 7 and the 30 as well. So, and you can see in the past it has come respected the 30. It tends to always respect the 30 until it doesn't. So I was happy to load up extra there. Actually, yeah, here when my average entry was down at 62, I was like, oh no, it's eaten away all my profits. But it's turned out to be a really, really good trade on the four to add that position in 12-hour time frame. We had the MRI top right here. And as soon as the candle opened, we did actually come down slightly, but nothing to speak of here. I would really love to start a new count on the 12-hour time frame. So tomorrow morning, we'll see what happens when the daily candle opens. But I don't want this to be a topping pattern. I don't even want to come back down and test that 69,600. I want to keep going on this thing. I'm really excited about that. The last thing I'll speak about is the 15-minute time frame and bang box indicator, which some people still are messaging me. It's not released yet. It's not released. It's coming. We're working on it. We're working on it. We finally had a losing trade. Here, that's 20% gain. Bang, 20%. This one did not get to 20%. It stopped short of 20% and was the first. See, it got to 1.47 at 2%, which would have been 20% with a 10x leverage trade. It didn't. It came down and stopped out. So it just broke the cycle. This one here of the first losing trade we've had for a really, really long time. They've all been 20%ers, 20%ers, 20%ers. This one now that we're currently in is already, it's already at 20. It's already
at 20%. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Does it just take profit at 20% or does it keep riding? And then it keeps moving. It has a trailing stop.
That's right. It has a trailing stop. But I haven't coded it yet. So I haven't coded the back end yet. I'm right now in the process working with another dev to work out the best possible strategy to kick in that. We're refining it, all right. But let's just say, for argument's sake, it'll just take the profit at 20%. This candle here, this red candle, it probably would have got you out, to be fair, and you're in no trade right now. So at worst, you got 20%. I want to find a way that it kicks in a trailing stop after you get exceed 2%. But then if it breaches 2% down on the downside again, that you get out at least at 20%. That works a lot of the times. You can get a really, really good run on, like one of these trades we did back here, which was 160%. Fantastic. But this happens often as well. And I want to account for this happening because that one is also useful in this situation right here, where 20% would have been perfect to have caught, bang, 20%, and then it just cascaded down to here. So I don't want to sit into that position. So I have to figure out through optimization the best way to do it. I'm happy to have a bot that 8 out of 10 times brings you 20% return over, and you pull in 4 or 5 trades in a week of that. That's fine by me. I think that would be one of the best bots in the world, but we're working on that. So, and I haven't released it yet. So that's all I have to say about the market. I'm really excited. I'm locked and loaded 100% across the board. I was really, really happy that I added to the position today. That seems like a really smart move in hindsight. But in the moment, it was nervous, but we got there in the end. I think we're gonna have a great week. I think we're gonna have a great week, Tom.
Yeah, and I'll have the ETF numbers. The real ETF numbers will come in this afternoon or after market closes for Friday. It looks like my best estimate is that 30,000 additional Bitcoin were purchased into the Bitcoin ETFs. That's net. That's including the outflow out of GBTC. We got plus 30,000 Bitcoin. If that happens again this week, I think any value of Bitcoin is possible. Someone commented in the chat, Tone, I thought you kept saying that you're surprised Bitcoin is not higher because of all the Bitcoin that has been buying into the ETF. That's true, but I'm surprised at how much Bitcoin is being bought into the ETF, right? So it goes back to the underlying spot price. And right now, people were buying up Bitcoin over the weekend to push the price higher. And I got to think about if there's game theory involved here. in case people are short Bitcoin ETFs over the weekend, they get really, really screwed. So this could be like a way to punish the shorts, to make sure there aren't that many shorts, to make sure Bitcoin, continues to just rise, rise, rise. So that's also interesting. I've also seen short restrictions on these ETFs. Like the other day, remember that day 2 days ago when we were falling, or like 3 days ago, whenever it was, when we fell really hard, like what, 15% in a blink of
15%.
an eye? Yeah, because
Yep.
I was watching it on my broker's account. All of the Bitcoin ETFs, they had a short restriction. Like they don't let you short when it's crashing hard, which I think
Good.
is bad. I think that's bad regulation. I think you should be allowed to short because the short seller is the first buyer to stabilize the market after a crash because they're looking to take profit. And now they're going long because they've profited from a crash. So I don't like restrictions on shorts, but the government does have them. So it is interesting that, remember, these ETFs, they have, like in the derivative exchange arena, there are no restrictions. But in the traditional arena, there are restrictions on shorting, especially when something is down over 10%. Usually, they stop you from being able to short it. And it's positive in the short term, but I think it's negative on a longer scale. Anyway, if there's another 30,000 Bitcoin inflow this week, it's possible Bitcoin goes into the $80,000 range. And if there's another 30,000 Bitcoin inflow next week, it's possible we're breaking 100 already. Like, I just don't understand where they're getting the Bitcoin. Only 6,300 Bitcoin is getting mined by the miners. And remember, a lot of those miners are independent people picking up some of that Bitcoin. They're not selling. And some of the miners are trying to hodl right now to smooth out their operation later. It's I think there's a shortage of Bitcoin. So
I mean, that's how you make the slippage to the upside. What's it called? Slippage to the upside.
no.
Just
Right. So
parabolic
I think
move,
there's a shortage of Bitcoin, but as Bitcoin approaches 90 something thousand, I think there's going to be an influx of Bitcoin. I think there's just so many people that are waiting for 100,000 in order to cash out. And the smart ones are going to do it before it gets to 100,000 because they know better. So I think the real reversal is going to start before it gets to 100,000.
I always think of things as in both directions, and when you have those number targets, it tends to either respect those number targets or just tear through them. And like at 127,000, you'll see a massive crash. Do you know what I mean? Like it goes both ways, where people freak out to sell at 100,000 and it drops a little bit and then it goes back up above 100,000 and then tears through, and then the real crash comes a bit higher. I see that a lot as well. I heard Michael Saylor just bought more as well.
He did. He was buying some more last week. Like eventually, he's not going to have enough money to do it. Speaking of not having enough money, I'm pretty sure many of you are, getting messages from your friends that are sad they didn't stash enough Bitcoin over the prior 12 months, and they wish they had more. Kept waiting for a pullback to buy more, and now they don't know what to do because we are entering a point where a Western mid to upper middle class is no longer able to afford an entire Bitcoin if they have not yet acquired a full Bitcoin. We're getting to that level where one Bitcoin costs you a year of your salary, and it's impossible to go back to living like a college student and put your entire salary into Bitcoin, especially if you have, significant others to take care of. So we are now at that stage. And I don't know, Matt, if you've been watching my channel, I haven't talked about this metric for a long time, but all throughout, say, 2022 and some of 2023, I kept talking about my number one metric for Bitcoin was how many addresses there are in the world with one full Bitcoin in those addresses. And at the time, Bitcoin was like 20, 30,000. And I kept saying that was crossing 1 million addresses. So that's a million Bitcoin. And I said, hey, if you can purchase one Bitcoin, you can purchase two Bitcoin. That's no longer the case. Right now, if you can purchase just one Bitcoin, you probably can't purchase two Bitcoin anymore. And that was the metric I was looking at the most. because that's the Bitcoin that's going to stay in that wallet until it 10x's. And I am curious where we are on wallets with one full Bitcoin in them right now, and if that metric has slowed down because of the high in price. And I was hoping that metric would get to 2 million, but I don't think that metric will ever get to 2 million unless people with thousands of Bitcoin start splitting, and even so. So I think we might have topped out.
Yes, and on that bombshell, if you want to trade, please use the links in the description below, because maybe you can't afford a Bitcoin, but if you're good and you can trade, you can coin margin trade, you can build up your stack without having to add any money in. But you got to be good. And message me when how you've done so great, better than I've done. I'll appreciate that. Please like and subscribe, share it with your friends. Please visit tonevase.com, alphanumetrics.com. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. It's been great.
Yeah.
Great weekend.
And check out the in-person financial summit in the Maldives. A lot more people can afford this amazing event now. So reserve your room before they sell out, because they absolutely will.